do? Like, what's the function of the post?
The function of the post is kind of like a trash compactor.
Stephen, will you? Oh, it's your recording. Thank you.
Yep. Does it show you on on your end when I hit record?
It has a
Yeah,
little button at the top.
Yeah, it says recording and then it sort of flashes red.
Oh, I see it now. Thanks for the reminder. But yeah, so getting on the post, it compresses the area to make more room for the energy. So I don't know what other analogy to give other than that. But I mean, like taking like a snowball and you have a lot of loose snow and you compress it and compress it and compress it, it gets denser and harder. So as you start using the post more, the people who work with you will be able to feel the difference in the energy, how it can feel kind of spongy at first, and it's you can feel the chi coming out, but it's not dense. When you get on the post, it creates more space to where things get a lot denser. And the people working with you will notice right away, like, whoa, what's different? Or if you get to train someone who's further along, who's been using the post. Yeah. But basically, it's just squishing the chi, making more room to keep adding more in there until it really gets full. Hey, Brad.
How did they figure out to use a wood post and like not something else? And it just seems curious to me, like that there's this post of wood on a stool, and like how did that happen?
I think it came from a lot of qigong and martial arts. They wear a lot of belts around the waist, and they're not just decorative belts and to show you how far you've been along, but the Chinese qigong, when they're doing these belts, they're really creating a lot of they're creating a lot of like an old-fashioned garter belt, like they cinch everything up really tight to do the practices and stuff. So I think it came from probably that idea of they were using external things to compress the chi, make it more dense. So they just took it probably one step further, like, oh, well, let's add, body weight to it and compress that way. But I'm not really sure how they discovered that tool, but I understand the mechanism behind why they want to do it.
Do a lot of people end up like lifting their legs off the ground and like balancing on it?
Most people do, yeah. I have a picture of my mom doing Superman. You don't have to don't do that at all, actually. Because it takes a lot of different muscles to get your arms out and your legs out. Like I recommend just like if you want to be like a turtle and your arms are down and your legs are down, but you're on the post, that's fine. Like you can like be on it with all your weight, but being like that with your arms out and legs out, there's too much tension in other parts of the body. So yeah. Then you can get on your tiptoes. You can use your hands to hold the top of the stool to regulate how much pressure. Yeah. So a lot of learning. Have you tried it yet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did one like Thursday or Friday.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, you can do 3 times a week, but try to space it out. Try not to do like 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
Like that.
I'm gonna try and do opposite with or one day and then do practice and then do post and then practice.
Yeah, perfect. Anybody else have any questions?
I ask you about the foot soak for legs.
Sure, go for it.
Best to do before or after, or does it matter?
After or on a different day.
Okay.
Because some of the practices, especially like hands and legs, we're challenging the cells to where there's going to be a little bit of detox that's happening. There's going to be a little bit of metabolic waste and some growth that's taking place, some soreness that can happen. So we want to use the herbs to help move the chi to detox, after training or on the off days. So if if you kick too hard and you're a little sore, soaking the next day, that right after or the next day will be better than before. Because if you soak before and then you train too hard, then it could be a couple of days before you soak again. So I think better after or the next day. Or you can just do every day. Yep, thanks. Anybody else have any questions? Henry, your practice is changing tonight. So you're going to do everything that's the same, except the way that you're doing the hitting is going to change. So right now you're just doing quantity and it's just keeping everything relaxed. Now you want to go into quality. So you want to still do the same time segment up to 1 to 3 minutes. But if you're going like this pretty quickly, there's a lot of hits in that 3-minute time window. Now we want to go very relaxed. And at the moment right before impact, we want to tighten our belly and think our belly is hitting our hand. So you just explode and then relax and go again. So gradually start off light intensity and then increase. But you want to have a very explosive burst of expression of the energy. So everything else stays the same. It's just that technique is different. So in that same 3-minute window, you're doing a lot less hits, but you're a lot more focused and intentional with the way you're practicing.
Okay.
Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Because you've seen everyone else do it in the past before. But
Right.
let me scoot the thing back and to demonstrate. So right now you're just all 10 spots. Now you want to be relaxed and then go very forcefully. And then just go what's comfortable, and then gradually as it warms up, you can keep increasing the intensity. But
So-
be very relaxed and then explosive and then relax again.
So alternating how?
You can alternate hands, yes.
Well, just in the intensity, alternating in the intensity, or
No, start off light, and then
Okay.
as you doing more hits in that spot, it warms up and can tolerate a little bit more. Once
Okay.
again, we want to stay on that edge of where we're not beating ourselves up, but it's not boring. So we want to
Right.
create, we want to be challenged. So, when it's not warmed up, that challenge is not very much. But once you've gotten some stimulations in, you can handle a lot more intensity.
Yeah.
But there's no rush to increase the intensity, you got 9, 10 months, a year of this training to develop. So don't
Okay.
rush it. Cool. Okay. Anybody else? Hey Jay, you made it home.
The soaking after is better for hands too,
Yes.
or can it be like a few hours difference,
Oh, for sure. You can do.
like- a few hours before or something, but not right before? Is that what you're saying?
If I personally had to choose between soaking before training or after training, I would choose after every single time, just because of what the physical practice is doing. There's going to be a little bit of damaging of the cells and the tissue to where the herbs are going to help heal that faster. And so for hands, we definitely want herbs on the hands before and after we're doing the bag. But say you train at like 4 o'clock and you put the herb on before and after the training, and then like 9 o'clock at night, you're like, oh yeah, I want to soak. That's fine.
Okay.
Cool. Anybody else? Tony, how's your hand doing?
It's doing better. I think the first day it was painful, and so it was hard to sleep. But once I got the splint on, and since then it's been much better. So, yeah, I broke my wrist, fell off my bike downhill. Yeah.
How long did the doctor say it would take to heal?
So the doctor gave me 2 options. It was like being in a cast for 8 to 12 weeks, or it would be a 6 to 8 week recovery if I had had surgery. And I was like, I definitely don't want any kind of invasive operation. Yeah. So 8 to 12 weeks.
Yeah, I'll have to show you guys a picture of my old roommate. My my old co-instructor who used to teach with me here in Austin, Natan, when he was out in California, the hot springs at Esalen, him and some friends were out hiking, and one of his friends dislodged a boulder, and it came down and just crushed his hand. They had to help fly him out with a helicopter. But I have a picture of the X-ray, and his hand is like in 100 pieces, like literally. And they're like, we need to just amputate the whole hand. He's like, just piece it together the best you can, and I'll do the rest. You know, they're like, whatever. And Dr. John gave him meditation and a practice. And in 3 months, he told himself, in 3 months, I want to be able to break a tile again. And on exactly 3 months, he put a tile on and he was able to break it. Granted, like one of his fingers is still kind of like crooked and stuff, but at least he has all his fingers. They didn't have to amputate any of them. Pretty impressive when you see the picture of the hand.
Stephen, he had sealed hand already? Did he had done hand level or no?
He already done advanced hands too.
Okay.
So he was
Okay.
the instructor who, when we first started learning advanced hands, he's the one who punched the one guy in the stomach and made him pass out and blood come out his ears. That's when Dr. Zhang's like, no more advanced hand students training people. But it was a blessing because on the 1 year anniversary of him getting his hand crushed, he went back to visit his boulder, and then he went to the springs, and then he met his wife. So they got married a year after that. Now they have 2 kids. So if he didn't crush his hand, chances are he wouldn't have found his wife.
Speaking of Boulder, you said there's an instructor out of, sounds terrible, out of Boulder, Colorado that
Right.
teaches also.
Mhm.
He has a virtual class as well or no?
Yeah, I should. Yeah,
we
Dave
allowed to
came in
join?
on ours. I should find out from Dave if he's open to letting you guys join in. So
Thank you.
I'll contact him. Everyone else doing well with training? Cool. Any questions for me? Nope. Okay.
Art, were you talking to me? My internet keeps cutting out. It's very unstable. Were you saying something to me or to the
Not
general?
to everybody, just seeing if
Everybody,
anyone else
okay.
has any questions. So, Brad, you're on mute. There you go.
You hear me?
Yep.
So given that it's spring now and the normal like yang wood dynamic is maybe a little bit dispersed because there's so much uncertainty in society. Is that a fair assessment?
Okay.
I mean, you know,
Okay.
so what element or dynamic would you suggest if you're feeling that yourself or within people around you?
That's tricky.
I can give you some specific, like, why I'm asking that if you want.
Yeah, that would be nice.
So I'm trying to get goals and, like, you know, out of everyone that I'm still working with as a personal trainer, trying to get people to set goals. And there's so much uncertainty in just week to week, day to day dynamics that everyone's really having a challenging time just setting a goal for like a week out. So I'm trying, you know, everything I can think of, obviously, but as far as like an elemental approach, maybe something I haven't thought of, anything you can offer, I'd be glad to hear.
I don't really have anything from like an elemental 5-element point of, you know, psycho-emotional evaluation. There's a lot of acupuncturists who love that kind of stuff. I don't dive into that too much. I would just suggest, you know, making lots of simple, small goals that they can wrap their mind around and just make it a habit, you know. Like Dr. Zhang talked about, like people who were close to the end of their life, and when he would do blood analysis, like he could tell a lot from the blood analysis, but he found out when he asked people who were terminal, who knew that they had like weeks to live, if they could blueprint, like could they see what was happening next week? Could they see could they think about, imagine something happening in a month? And the lower their energy was and the more likely they were going to die soon, they couldn't project mentally forward. So I understand what you're saying about all this uncertainty. Like, how do you make goals when everything's unknown? Then try to simplify the goals to the few things that they do know, that they do have control over. So it's tricky. Like, I want to set goals on when we can have class, but that's kind of outside of my control.
Sure.
So it's hard for me to blueprint that because of the uncertainty.
Sure.
But I can choose what time I wake up and what I eat for breakfast and what I eat for dinner and how long I go fishing for and stuff like that.
Right on.
So just little steps, like, you know, because it's still a good habit to get them into, even though they can't fully embrace certain aspects of, you know, creating a plan or a goal.
Yeah.
Then break it into something much, much smaller that they can wrap their mind around.
Baby steps.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Good question.
I think that was good advice too, Steve.
Thank you.
Uh,
And that goes for all our practices and everything that we do in Qigong. We can look at it as like too big and, oh, I can't do all this practice. That means I have to soak, I have to do all these 10 meditations and break tiles and then clean everything up. Oh, I don't want to do it. Well, then break it into something smaller that you can tolerate and enjoy.
Personally, I think it's been a great opportunity, if you can call it that, to strip away the past and present and focus right now, and which helps with deepening the practice.
For sure.
I think.
For sure.
So whatever you're doing, whether you're washing dishes or practicing qigong or mowing the lawn.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, because even though we have all this uncertainty, everything's on hold, like nature's not on hold. Like I still have to mow my yard, the grass still grows, I still have to water my garden. When I'm making sourdough bread, like I still need X amount of time for everything to ferment so I can get bubbly bread. It's not like instantaneous. So like stuff still goes on. So it's neat to pay attention to that.
And then there's the choice that we have about how we respond to different situations.
Yeah.
I think by choosing whether to maybe react this way or act this way is also there.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the one thing we do have power over, is how we perceive things and how we choose to react. Yeah, this past weekend, my girlfriend in Houston, like the landlord came into the office and was, talking, and she kind of has all these kind of belittling ways of talking to them. It's like, oh yeah, you're open just like all the other, salons now. And she's like equating to her acupuncture medical practice as like a salon. And she just got furious about it. I'm just like, why are you furious about this? Like, who cares what she says? Like, if she called you a racist, would you care? Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, she's like, but I spent, all this money going to school. I spent 8 years going to school and all the student loan debt. Like, I'm a medical professional. I'm just like, get over it. Like, what, you shouldn't let this person's passing comment ruin your day. It's just kind of interesting to see, like, she chose to react very strongly to this passerby, making a really lame statement.
Whereas it's actually the reaction or whatever comes up for her or anyone is an opportunity to integrate something or to look at what invoked that reaction.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, because 5 minutes before or earlier that day, later that day, she was in the car and she was taking these homeopathics. Like, what is that for? She's like, oh, my homeopath gave it to me to help, open my root chakra so I can get better at letting go. I was like, letting go, let go of those reactions. And she's like, shut up. So it's like, I tell her something and it's like, nope. But if someone else says it from a different point of view, it's just like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. I'm just like, okay, whatever. Yeah, it's fun. Being in relationships is a great teacher.
Yeah, much better than sitting on a mountain somewhere.
I think so. And one thing I think a lot of people say, in regards to cultivation is cultivating, in a city or, in modern day is much higher level than, removing yourself from all these distractions, because you're you're human, you have interactions. Like, why would you want to integrate, so deeply in the cave and without distractions? Like, I loved having our school next to Lamar. People at the stoplights, loud music and sirens and doors going, opening, shutting. Like, it was perfect during meditation stuff. That's the reality that we live in. Like, why be distracted? You can choose to, strengthen your focus.
Yeah, it's like the lessons are around every corner, should you choose to accept.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Any requests meditation wise? Should we? No. Alan's not here, so we're not going to do longevity. Let's just do going to the pool and lighting up the bones. Okay. Let's put everybody on mute for a moment. Okay. Okay, let's just get comfortable. So just go ahead and close your eyes. Roll the tip of your tongue to where it touches the roof of your mouth, just behind your front upper teeth. And for some of you, just by doing this, it's like flipping a switch. You kind of go into autopilot mode and your mind already drops into your body, drops into the lower dantian. But for those of you who that doesn't happen for, bring all your different pieces of your mind that spread out in so many different directions into the moment. And kind of shine those flashlights inwards. So just bring your awareness and your mind back inside your body. And just kind of tune everything else out. Letting go of the past, forgetting about the future. Just be present in the moment, checking in to your body. And we can kind of shift and align our posture to kind of allow the chi to flow better. So you can imagine a string attached to the top of your head, lifting you up towards the ceiling. Feel your spine lengthen. Feel yourself getting taller and taller with each breath. And then with your next breath, follow it all the way down into lower dantian. You can see the crystal ball in lower dantian getting denser and brighter with each breath. You can even see it slowly rotating. Let's add to this energy in lower dantian by taking in 3 morning suns. Just visualize a bright white morning sun, about 10 a.m. in the sky. Use your mind and pull the sun to you. Imagine it hovering right above the top of your head. You can feel the warmth all over your body. Open the pathway point at the top of your head. Inhale, allow the sun to melt into a liquid light and pour straight into lower dantian. We create a second morning sun, bigger and brighter than the first. Pull it to you. See it, feel it. Inhale, breathe it straight down in the lower dantian. And then one last time, a third morning sun, making this one bigger and brighter than the first 2 suns combined. Pull it to you. See it, feel it. Breathe it all the way down in the lower dantian. The mind tells the chi to close the top of the head. Now lower dantian is very bright and very full. We can squeeze and put a tiny bit of pressure, making lower dantian just a little bit denser, a little bit brighter. And then just shine this light from lower dantian straight up into your sternum, into your breastbone, allowing it to saturate and then allow it to spread. So allow it to spread through all the ribs and collarbones, like a chain reaction that spreads through the bones. You can feel it wrap around the ribs and feeding into your spine, brightening up each and every vertebra. Beautiful, bright, white, strong, powerful bones. Feeding into the base of the skull and spreading through all the cranial bones in your head. To your forehead and eye sockets, sinuses, upper and lower jaws. And then filling up your teeth from the roots to the tips of your teeth. You can imagine each tooth is like a plastic bag or a balloon filling up with this liquid crystal light filling up your teeth, allowing them to get fuller and fuller with each breath, stronger and stronger, brighter and brighter. And fact, the teeth feel so strong and so powerful, you can imagine biting a ceramic tile and chewing it up as if it was a potato chip. So you can even go through the motion of just chewing up that tile. Or you can just tap your teeth together to feel a little bit of vibration. Just imagine chewing up a ceramic tile like it was nothing. Very strong, very powerful teeth. And then we release this light down into your shoulder joints, shoulder blades. Feel it flow down your arms. Those bones are just getting brighter and brighter with each breath, stronger and stronger. Down to your elbow joints and forearms. All the way into your hands and fingers. And then continuing down into your low back and sacrum and tailbone. Into your pelvis. Deep into your hip joints. And feel it flow down the long bones of your thigh. And then brightening up your knee joints. Lower legs. Ankles, heels, feet, all the way into your toes. And just scan over your body, making sure all the bones are bright white. If you notice any darker spots, just breathe into those bones, make those bones brighter. Still feel as if you're being lifted by that string from the top of your head, allowing the chi to support you. Beautiful, bright, white, strong, powerful bones. And now just see yourself sitting in that beautiful pine tree forest, surrounded by longevity pine trees that are thousands of years old. So you have all these beautiful pine trees surrounding you in all directions. The sun is shining through the pine needles onto your skin. And just stay tuned into this moment, connecting into the pine trees and the sun. This helps us link into nature. It also helps us link into the lineage, to Dr. Zhang and all the different masters that came before. Happy, healthy, strong, powerful bones, sitting in a beautiful pine tree forest. Sun shining through the pine needles onto your skin. And just enjoy this time, tuning everything else out. If you feel any tension in your body, just soften it, allow it to relax, breathe into it. Just enjoy this time, taking this moment to just recharge, recalibrate, nourish your cells and your energy. And just start to bring your awareness back into lower dantian once again. This time we can place a golden full moon in our lower belly. We can take in a few breaths, drawing the energy from around the outside of our body and guiding it to the full moon in dantian. If lower dantian's slowly rotating, gradually allow it to come to a stop. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes, relax the mind, and come on out. Okay.
Stephen,
Sure.
if I may, thank you so much for sharing the hand story again.
Oh,
You
you're
shared it before, the healing one. And when when my knee was shattered in the accident,
mm-hmm.
it's because of this story and stories like it that you've shared that for me, despair and hopelessness, I didn't let that take root. I just really focused on that story and others that you've shared. Just really kind of meditated on those. I just wouldn't allow that to be my story, of like, I may be disabled the rest of my life, etc., etc. Really important. I really wanted to share that for others because it's like the power of these stories. It may be easy to just be like, oh yeah, that's cool, but just like really let that anchor in your body, because these are, it's like, that's a fucking miracle, right? Like within 3 months, that's his intention, and then he like smashes that. It's amazing. It's amazing what we can do with this technology, given the tools we have. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Would you mind sharing for those who don't know, like when you broke your leg, how that came back and they didn't need to do surgery? I mean, how it came back in perfect order?
Yeah. So I was in a sporting accident, and the tibial plateau, there was a fracture, but also my knee shattered. And when they did the x-rays for it, the surgeon said, yeah, it's this bizarre thing. The knee shattered, but everything shattered exactly in place. So he says, we're going to have emergency surgery and basically put the pin and the plate in such a way so that it just stays there and then heals the way it's shattered in place. So I was like, yeah, very peculiar. They couldn't exactly, and I could feel the surgeons sort of trying to not make light of it, but sort of just be like, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like they couldn't wrap their heads around how it just shattered, but everything in perfect place. So that then it was, because he said, I won't know until I go in there. You may need many plates and many blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, we just had to put one small one on the right side, basically just to keep it immobile and, and just let it do its thing. I'm not going to pretend the recovery wasn't bloody brutal or anything. I'm allergic to painkillers, so I did it all without. But that's, I could tell like they couldn't really sit with that and make sense of it. It was really awesome. And I just thought, yeah, well, I know why, because I was on leg level, it's like that fucking saved my ass in a big way. So I'm also really excited about eventually finishing leg. So.
Well, that and you did Golden Shield and Torso.
Yeah, no, definitely. Absolutely. And that's why I say those stories too, right? It's like in those moments of despair and hopelessness and whatever, you draw on that incredible well of going to the pool even, right, and saying, it's like, because you've shared stories of Dr. Zhang's masters being shot at machine gun style, and like, come on.
I don't think machine guns, because they didn't have them back then.
Well, in my story, they're machine guns. I'm an Arab. We take it higher. Have you seen my people's work? Yeah. So, but very powerful stuff.
But I do agree. Thanks for pointing this out, that these stories can be useful, and also, just seeing other people practice is useful. That's why being in a group is useful, is seeing people clear the way for you. And we hear stories about Yan Chen, the one Qigong master whose book I recommend, how, he took the guy's fractured arms with an X-ray, and in 2 hours he completely healed him, and the guy was doing chin-ups and push-ups. So it's nice to hear those extremes of,
right.
So it's like choosing to have intention that you'll have a better recovery than if you did nothing, I think is a better way. You do have choice and influence on these limited circumstances. And one of Dr. Zhang's books he autographed for me, he wrote, you choose or nature chooses. So like, there's a lot of things I can't choose based on what's going on with COVID right now, but there's a lot of things I still have choice over and I can choose. So we have to remember, we choose or we leave it up to circumstance. So that's where planning and blueprinting and having all these ideas in place is you can set yourself up for success versus just leaving yourself open to complete circumstance. So who knows, if you didn't have that way of thinking, it might have taken a much more brutal, way of healing. Could have been multiple surgeries and a lot longer.
Oh, and everybody that's had this injury, because I was in physical therapy, I met several people with it. A lot of, man, it was really hard. Every time I'd meet someone, they'd say, how many surgeries have you had corrective? And how many infections have you gotten? And blah. They're like, some people are on their 8th surgery and it's still not healed, and there's complications and infections. And I would just sort of change the subject and get out of there. I didn't want to be, I had one.
Yeah.
It was like, and bloody, and so, alhamdulillah, thank God, successful. And I would just get out of there. Like, I couldn't even be around that to, just be like, God help them. And then just get out of there. Because, yeah, this one in particular is a very complicated one. And I'm not exaggerating. Some people were on their 8th and not even close to being done yet. So It's not. Yeah. But I also think what I love, what you've shared over and over, is also the piece around humility. It's, balancing that with remembering that we are also, there's something fragile about us, and those masters that get cancer and die, or, whatever it is, like, we're also human and fragile, and we have to stay humble too.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen and been following certain Qigong masters, on YouTube and reading some of their books, and it's just like, a lot of them are still dropping dead really young. It's like, well, what's going on with that? The one Shaolin monk, the Hai Tung, who's like 90 something years old, that you see him doing like the one finger handstand, he still died from, liver cancer, the one master Lu, the 118-year-old Bagua master, he died after breaking his femur and an infection. So he lived in a really rocky and unlevel city, to where it was just inevitable that he was going to fall. But yeah, he broke his leg, and that was kind of his downfall. So yeah, we take for granted some of these simple things. Any other comments, questions? Hang in there. Hopefully we'll be out of this here pretty soon. We can meet in person again. Okay, nothing else. I'm kind of out of material for tonight, but if you guys have any questions, save them for Wednesday.
Thank you so
Great.
much.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steven.
Welcome. See you guys.
Have a good night.